Hello everyone, and welcome back to another playthrough of Gates. But this time, as you can see, uh, the gnome pack has finally come in. So I have the Drunkard, I have a new Wave 1 enemy with the Crawlbone, I have a new Wave 2 enemy in Swine Witch, and a new Wave 3 enemy with Gloomskull. And I'll go over them more in detail in a second. We have a new hero card, the Executioner. And we have two more cards in the shop. We have the Village Crier and the Architect. Now, what I could do is just shuffle it up and have everything be completely random. But if I do that, then it's entirely possible that we won't see any of the new stuff. So instead, what I'm going to do is I've decided, I already know that the Drunkard is like the strongest starting card in the game. So what I've decided to do is pick the three starting cards that I think would be the absolute strongest, and we're going to play with that today. So we're going to have the Drunkard, the Guard, and the Peddler. This gives me the most amount of offense, like, that I think is really feasible. So we have the Drunkard, which has 1 damage, but it gets 1 additional damage in combat as long as the tavern is standing. So it'll do 2 damage, and if the tower is still up, it'll deal a whopping 3 damage. And then I also have the Guard, which will deal an additional damage, so that's 4. And then we have the Peddler, which has 2 income, plus 1 from the farm, so 3 income. So I could buy a barricade, and that would put me at a whopping 5 damage just with these 3 starting cards, which can take out, I believe, every single Wave 2 enemy and some Wave 3 enemies. So that is our starting deck. Incredibly strong right out the gate. No pun intended. And then we have Crawlbone, who has 3 HP, deals 1 damage to the tower, increases fear by 1. You gain 1 fear as soon as the Crawlbone is revealed. We have the Swine Witch, 4 HP, deals 2 damage to the mill, increases fear by 1. During the round this card is revealed, draw up 1 less card, so you only draw 2 cards instead of 3. That's pretty brutal. And then we have Gloomskull, 5 HP, 2 damage to the tavern, increase fear by 2. When this card is revealed, you must trash the top card in your draw pile. So that could potentially get rid of a really strong card you need, or if you have what I sometimes do, if you get down to a deck of just 3 cards, this could remove one of those cards, and then you only have a 2-card deck, which would be pretty bad. So Gloomskull actually kind of counters people trying to make really small decks. So it's kind of nice to have a counter to that in this game, because there really wasn't any punishment for you doing that before. And then we have the Executioner, which has 1 of every stat, and you may trash up to 2 cards in hand or in discard. And then we have Village Crier, 1 income, 2 calm, 1 damage. You may discard a card from your hand and draw a new one. So just a slightly better Vagabond, but slightly more expensive. And then we have the Architect. Costs 5, 1 income, 2 repair, 1 calm, 1 damage, plus 1 when repairing as long as the mill is standing. So this gives you repair 3. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave the Architect and Village Crier here in the shop, and I'm just going to reveal the next 2 cards. We have the Martyr and the the Alchemist at the start. Interesting. Although getting the Alchemist is going to be pretty hard because the Drunkard doesn't have any income. So I only have 4 income with my starting cards, so I'd have to have 2 other cards that give me plus 2 income, and then I have to draw them all. No, 1 card that gives me plus 2 income, and then I'd have to draw the Peddler, the Guard, and the 2 income card all in the same turn in order to grab the Alchemist. So Alchemist seems unlikely, unless we get the Baroness or something. These will be our starting cards, and then I'm going to shuffle up the wave 1 enemies and remove 3 of them. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to put the crawlbone in with the wave 1 enemies, so I'll still have 4, and then shuffle these up. So we're guaranteed to see the crawlbone, we just don't know when. Okay. Then we'll do the same thing with the wave 2 enemies, give it a quick shuffle, and then just go 1, 2, 3. Put the Swine Witch in there, still 4 enemies. And then give it a good shuffle. And then we know we will see the Swine Witch, but we won't know when. And then lastly, wave 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoa. 3. Put the Gloom Skull in there, and then shuffle it up. Whoa. Okay. So that is all 3 waves done. And then I have already taken out some of the heroes, so I'll just add this hero in, and so we'll have 5 heroes. Shuffle this up, and so we know that the Executioner is in here, but we won't know when we will get him. Okay. So with all of that, we are ready to get started. So our first enemy is going to be the Crawlbone. There it is. So 3 HP, 1 damage to the tower, increases fear by 1, and you gain 1 fear as soon as the Crawlbone is revealed. Okay, so increase fear by 1, giving us a hero. And then I'm going to use the Drunkard. The Drunkard deals 1 damage, plus 1 in combat as long as the tavern is standing, which it is. And then an additional damage from the tower, so that'll deal 3 damage, which will immediately one-shot the Crawlbone. So now I have 2, 3, plus 1 from the farm, 4 income. And I could grab the Martyr. I could grab the Village Crier. I think just to be efficient with my money, I'm going to spend 4 on the Martyr. And then our next card is the Gambler. Okay, so next wave 1 enemy is Skelipede. 3 HP, deals 2 damage to the tower. And then I'm going to give these a shuffle, and we will draw 3 more cards. Oh yeah, also, because I have the Gnome Pack, I forgot to show this off. That means not only do I have all the new stuff for Gates, it means I have the Cat Folk, the Swine Folk, and the Construct for Tin Helm and Tin Realm, and they also have the Crystal and the Bracers starting items. And I also have the new locations. We have the Grotto, the Lost Tomb, the Endless Pit, and the Crawlway for Tin Helm. And then we have Dead Field for Tin Realm. So I will get to learn how these work. New cards and locations. It is thundering and raining outside. Spooky. And in the same thing that came, we have a Judgment of the Realm Lords with this massive package of dice and stuff. So I will be able to open this up and show you guys that game. But I figured I would just do Gates first because this is a game I already know how to play and will go fairly quickly, and I want to upload a video today because I've been slacking off a little bit for no particular reason. I've just been lazy and playing other games. Okay, so I'm going to draw the Clay Golem, the Drunkard, and the Guard. Okay, so we're going to use the Drunkard. Stop me if you've heard this one before. We're going to do 1 damage, plus 1 because the tavern is still standing, plus 1 from the tower is 3 damage, which will simply take down the Skelipede. Now I have 1 income from Clay Golem, 1 income from the Guard, plus 1 from the farm is 3 income, And I may place 2 barricades one-time use. So I will place a barricade in front of the gate and the tower. And then I will spend 3 income to grab the village crier. New cards. And our next card is going to be the druid. Fun fact, I think the druid is the worst card in the game. Okay, so next wave 1 enemy is the plague rat. So I will draw 1, 2, I need 1 more, so shuffle this up. Only 3 cards here. 3. We have the peddler, the martyr, and the guard. Okay. So I will use the martyr and the guard to deal 2 damage plus 1 from the tower is 3 damage. I think. Then I'll use the peddler's 1 income to reduce fear by 1, or to calm by 1, because the festival command costs 1 gold this turn. So I'll use 1 gold for that. And then I'll spend 2 gold on the gambler, actually. So the gambler has 1 income, and you may double the income of another card. Okay. So the plague rat is going to deal 1 damage to the farm, increase fear by 1, giving us another random hero, scooch over, and reveal the next wave 1 enemy, which is the Lost Corpse. I can no longer calm my citizens as long as the Lost Corpse is active. Alright, give these a shuffle. Okay, draw 1. We have the village crier, the drunkard, and the gambler. So I'm going to discard a card from my hand and draw a new one. I don't know if I need to do that, but what I am going to do is use the drunkard to deal a total of 3 damage, which will deal 1 damage to the plague rat and kill it, and then 2 damage will carry over to the Lost Corpse. It only has 2 HP, and so it will also perish. You can probably see why everyone says the drunkard is overpowered. It just kind of takes care of all of the enemies by itself. Interesting. Do I use the village crier? Or do I just use the gambler to double it to have 2, 3, plus 1 from the farm, 4 income? I didn't reveal the next card, so it's the nomad. 4 income, and these all cost 5 or 6. That sucks. I think I will use the village crier to discard itself and hopefully grab the peddler. Engineer. Oh, well, I'll use the engineer to repair 1 to the farm, I guess, because that's the only thing that's taken damage. And then I will use the gambler to calm for 1. That's fine. Actually, instead of using it to calm for 1, I'm going to buy a barricade using 1 income from the gambler plus 1 from the farm to put a barricade in front of the farm. Okay. So wave 2. We have the Rotworm, 5 HP, 2 damage to the farm, and increase fear by 1. I have the Martyr, the Guard, and the Peddler. Okay. So I'm going to, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 1 from the farm is 5 income here. And you know what? I think I'm going to spend all 5 income on the Nomad, actually. I could grab the Architect, just because it is a new card. But my theory here is the Nomad lets me take 1 card from my discard pile and place it on top of my draw pile. So I can stack either the Gambler or the Peddler on top of my deck and potentially try to get them together. Then we have the Guardian. Nice. Okay, and that took all 5 of my cards. The Rotworm is going to attempt to deal 2 damage to the farm. The Barricade will block it, and then increase fear by 1, which will take 1 damage to the farm. So we'll scooch over. Next wave 2 enemy is Shell Spawn. 4 HP, 2 damage to the mill, increases fear by 1. and it cannot be stopped by barricades. So I will shuffle all these up. We have the Martyr, the Nomad, and the Peddler. Okay. So I'm going to use the Martyr. 1 damage buffed by 1 from the tower to deal 2 damage to Shell Spawn. I will use the Nomad's 2 damage to kill the Shell Spawn. Then I will use 2 income from the Peddler to grab a barricade in front of the farm again. Then I will use 1 income from the farm to calm by 2. Normally, Festival only calms for 1, but because the tavern is still up, I get +1 when calming. So calm for 2, and then when the Peddler goes to the discard, I will use the Nomad to take 1 card from my discard and place it on top of my draw pile. So hopefully I can get the Peddler and the Gambler in the same hand. So now Rotworm is going to deal 2 damage to the barricade, or 2 damage to the farm. It'll get blocked, take 1 damage. Increase fear by 1, grabbing another hero card, and then the next wave 2 enemy will be the Blood Monk. Aw, man. Blood Monk has 4 HP, does 2 damage to the tavern, increases fear by 1, and when it's revealed, it removes all damage counters from, or just removes all damage tokens when it's revealed, so it healed the Rotworm, unfortunately. So we have the Peddler, the Gambler, there it is, and the Drunkard. Awesome. So the Gambler is going to double the income of the Peddler. So the Peddler now has an income of 4. Gambler has 1 income, so 5. Farm gives +1 income, so 6 income from all of that. So I could grab the Alchemist, I could grab the Guardian, I could grab the Architect. But I think what I'm going to do is use the Drunkard to deal 3 damage to Blood Monk. Then I will use 1 income from the Peddler to calm for 1. I will use 1 income from the Peddler to refresh the shop. So I'm not going to be using the Architect in this run. Mason, Tax Collector, Wizard, and the Coachman. So I still have 2 income left from the Peddler. So I will purchase a barricade in front of the farm. And that's it for the Peddler. And then with the Gambler, I will simply repair 1 to the farm. And I'm hoping I'm going to get a little bit ahead here on this next turn. So Rotworm is going to attempt to deal 2 damage to the farm. The barricade will block it, deal 1 damage back, and then it'll increase fear by 1, which will give us a random hero card. Then the Blood Monk will deal 2 damage to the tavern, knocking it down to 1, and then increase fear by 1, which will deal 1 damage to the farm. And then the Rotworm is going to sneak through and deal 1 damage to the gate. And then this will scooch over. Next wave 2 enemy, we have the Swine Witch. So during the round this card is revealed, draw up 1 less card. So I got 2 cards left in my deck. We've got the Guard and the Village Crier. Okay. So I'm going to use the Guard to deal 1 damage buffed by 1 from the tower. So 2 damage, 1 damage to the Blood Monk, 1 damage to the Swine Witch. And then I will use the Village Crier's 1 income +1 from the farm to grab a barricade. I will put the barricade in front of the mill. Okay, Swine Witch will attempt to attack the mill. Barricade will block it, deal 1 damage back, increase fear by 1, dealing 1 damage to our tower. And then scooching over, revealing our first wave 3 enemy, the Abomination. And then I will grab all these and shuffle them up. Ba, 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 ba. All right. So now I get to draw 3 cards again. Sorceress, Nomad, Martyr. Okay. You know what? I'm going to use the Martyr to deal 1 damage, plus 1 from the tower is 2 damage, which will be enough to kill the Swine Witch. And then I will trash the Martyr to defeat a single enemy. So I will just defeat the Abomination outright. So that way this will finally put me ahead and gets 1 card out of my deck. Then we have the Sorceress and the Nomad. Unfortunately, the Nomad isn't really going to do anything. Actually, it could. It still could. It could put itself on top. I don't see why not. And then let's see here. I'm going to... How much income do I have? I have 4 income. I'm going to repair for 2 on the tavern here. No, I'll repair 1 to the tavern, putting it back at 2. And then I'll repair 1 to the farm, putting it at 5. Then, and I'll use the Sorceress for that, who will also let me place a barricade. So I'll place another barricade in front of the farm. Then with the Nomad, I'll use 1 income plus 1 from the farm to purchase Calm. I'll purchase the Festival action to Calm for 1, but because the tavern has 2 health, it'll Calm for 2. And then I will use the Nomad's ability to put itself back on top of the deck. Okay, so wave 3, Devour, 6 HP, 1 damage to each location, and then increase fear by 1. So draw 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we have the Executioner. You may trash up to 2 cards in hand or in discard. May take 1 card from your discard pile and place it on top of your draw pile. Okay. Well, unfortunately, I don't really want to trash my Nomad. So what I will do is use the guard to deal 1 damage bumped by 1 from the tower. So 2 damage to the Devourer. And then I will use the Executioner to... I'll use the Executioner to have 1 income, bumped by 1 from the farm, to place a barricade on the mill. Then I will use its ability to trash the guard from my deck. And then I will use the Nomad to deal 2 more damage to the Devourer, and then put itself back on top of my deck again. Then the Devourer will deal 1 damage to the farm, 1 damage to the mill, and then the barricades will deal 2 damage back, which will kill it. And then wave 3, we have the Death Guard, 6 HP, 1 damage to the tower, increases fear by 2. I will draw the Nomad, the Peddler, and the Village Crier. So I'm going to use the Village Crier to discard the Peddler and draw a new card. Then I will use the Nomad. Oh man, I didn't want to draw the Gambler here. I guess it was a 50-50. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. That's okay. I was hoping to discard the Peddler with the Village Crier, then use the Nomad to put the Peddler back on top so I could be guaranteed to draw it with the Gambler. I didn't think about what would happen if I drew the Gambler. I will deal 3 damage with Nomad and Village Crier, plus 1 from the tower is 4 damage. To the Death Guard. Then I will use the Gambler's 1 income buffed by 1 from the farm to purchase 1 damage against the Death Guard. And I don't think I'm going to put... Actually, I will put the Nomad on top. Okay. So Death Guard will attempt to deal 1 damage to the tower, which will have it take 1 damage and perish. Next wave 3 enemy, we have the Gloom Skull. When this card is revealed, you must trash the top card in your draw pile. Well, we know what that is. Goodbye, Nomad. I kind of forgot about that. That's all right. Okay, so I will draw 1, and then I've only got a 4-card deck here. 2, 3, we have the Drunkard, the Gambler, and the Peddler. I will use the Drunkard to deal a whopping 3 damage to the Gloom Skull. And now the Peddler has 4 income, 5. I have a total of 6 income, and so you know what? Ooh, this is going to destroy the tavern, though. Ooh, we can't have that. I was going to grab the Wizard, but then I wouldn't be able to protect the tavern. And then the Drunkard would lose his damage, so we can't have that. I will use 1 income from the Gambler plus 1 from the farm to put a barricade in front of the tavern, leaving me with 4 income left because the Gambler doubles the Peddler's income. So I will use 1 income to calm for 1, leaving me with 3 income, and then I will place a barricade in front of the farm. Okay. Then Gloom Skull will deal 2 damage to the tavern, the barricade will block it, deal 1 damage back, and then increase fear by 2, which will deal 1 damage to the farm and give us our last hero. Scooch over and then reveal Zogar. And then I will draw up 3 cards. Okay, so we have the Village Crier, the Gambler, and the Peddler. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the Gambler to double the income of the Peddler, so it has 4 income. I will use the Village Crier, 1 damage, buffed by 1 from the tower to deal 2 damage, so that'll kill the Gloom Skull, and 1 will leak over to Zogar. Okay, then with 4 income, I will grab 2 more barricades, 1 in front of the tower, 1 in front of the tavern. So that's that. And then I will use 1 income from the Gambler plus 1 from the farm in order to put another barricade in front of the mill. Okay. And so what that's going to do is Zogar is going to deal 2 damage to each location. Every location has a barricade, so none of them will take any damage, and Zogar will instead take 5 damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Zogar has taken 6 damage, only has 2 health left. Increases fear by 2, so it deals 2 damage to our tower. Putting it down to 2, that's okay. Then I will draw 1, the Drunkard, the Traveler. And then 1 other card. It doesn't matter because the Traveler will let me draw 2 more cards. Cool. And so now I think it's only fitting to finish this playthrough off with plus 1 damage in combat as long as the tavern is standing. The tavern is standing, so 1 damage plus 1 because the tavern is standing is 2 damage, which will kill Zogar. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Drunkard going up against Zogar and coming out on top. Okay, so, and then I had just this hilarious hand of Gambler, Peddler, Village Crier, Traveler, and then I could have bought the Wizard, yeah. But in any case, that has been another playthrough of Gates. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video where I might be playing Judgment of the Realm Lords, or Tin Helm. I haven't decided yet, but I will have to decide right after I stop recording. So I will see you all in the next video.